Hello and welcome to the In the Money Players podcast. This is our Sunday show talking about racing from Gulfstream Park and Santa Anita on Sunday, January 24th. And it's cold here in the Brooklyn bunker. Feels like outside. But I'll tell you what, this Sunday card, I think, going to take on added significance. These Sunday cards in sunny places though I think California is supposed to be a little chilly too on Saturday, but I think it won't really affect the racing from what I'm understanding. Between there, you get some nice weather out at Santa Anita, which we haven't been able to count on, but we're going to be snowed in if you're in climes like here in Brooklyn and also out in Jersey, where our guest today joins us from. He is the number one expert on all things Southern California at In the Money Media, wildly popular column. You can read it for free over at inthemoneypodcast.com every racing day in SoCal. He's done such a great job, built up such a good following. Always love to talk to him about what's happening out there. He's Dean Keppler. Dean, are you staying warm?
Oh, Pete, it's brutal, but good to be back here with you. Wish I was anywhere but Jersey today. Gulfstream or Santa Anita will certainly do the trick.
Yeah, the feels like in Brooklyn this morning, no joke, -6. So one of those rare times I was happy not to have a dog. Don't.
Yeah, same. Yep, absolutely.
I may just batten down the hat. I got to get out for an hour of exercise like a prisoner. But other than that, I will be here. The monitors will be going. We will be firing today and tomorrow. But one of the bets that I really have been enjoying the most is this Sunset Six. Incredibly friendly player terms. The other great thing, though, about going over these races, last 3 at Gulf, last 3 at Santa, there's other cool wagers you can get involved in that these wagers are going to be part of. Talking about bets like the Coast to Coast, especially the Santa Anita with the high denomination, low takeout, late double, late pick 3. So you don't have to play the Sunset Six necessarily, but that is the structure of the show to go over those races. We're going to start off with race number 9 at Gulfstream on, I said January 24th, Sunday. It's Sunday the 25th is the actual, 24th is today. This shows you where the mental state is. The cold has apparently constricted some of the blood vessels in my brain. But nonetheless, we will go over on this Sunday card, starting with race number 9. Better than the other day when I started talking about the 2025 Pegasus. I was all year wrong then. Now I'm just a day off. A little bit of a host fail. But let's talk about this synth race that kicks things off. $17,500 starter handicap. How are we going to light this candle, my friend?
Yeah, Pete, the obvious, morning line choice, which, it's going to probably be singled on a lot of the tickets, is number 3, Uncle John here. Looks like the speed of this field. 2 starts at Gulfstream have been ultra impressive here for Mike Maker and Gaff Leone. I think he's impossible to toss off the ticket here. But I'm going to throw one more on here, Pete, which is number 8, Palace View, who's 12-1 morning line. I'm hoping we can maybe get somewhere half of that. I'd be happy with. I was just really visually impressed with his last win here at Gulfstream, making his first start over this synthetic track. He was stuck behind, pretty pedestrian fractions, stuck on the outside, and he just gobbled this field up and, one going away. And it was actually visually impressive. I like the fact that Martin Drexler turns his horse, right back here. He's got a great percentage. Horses, coming off 8 to 30 days, close to 40%. I think that's a great sign. This horse is, in shape. He looks good. And, at that odds, I'm going to use those 2 on my ticket, on my main ticket here, Pete.
I'm glad you mentioned Palace View, and you're very, very good with those trainer stats. And that's a really important one, because I'll admit I didn't look it up. I had the note, he's back in 9 days, going to be too quick. But when you can see that this is a move that the trainer clearly has in their arsenal, don't really mind throwing that one in. I did have listed in my picks. I did also, like you, have Uncle John as the clear top choice. I did also want to just mention the 5 Long Branch Lou as one I thought, potentially well posted, could benefit if they go too fast. So those are going to be the 3 for me in the pick. I might single the 3 and then look to cover the 5 and the 8 in other combinations above the 3 and exactas, etc. But those are the 3 I wouldn't mind having on my Sunset Six tickets as we kick this thing off and proceed to race number 10. We've got our featured race of the day. It's an optional claimer, $62,000. We've got $87,000 in the pot, going 7 furlongs on the dirt in this race. And I thought that it broke out nicely for runners who are going to be positioned towards the top of the field. I Super Tuscan, fairly obvious, I think, on top. But also, as obvious, if the morning line is right, maybe the best price of these contenders dropping in class appears to be working well for the return to the races. Pursuit Never Sleeps is in great form, looks very strong on numbers. I thought we'd get that good, positive trip. And I did also want to mention Bilal, the 7, definitely like a definitive third, more of a backup for me in this spot. Has good enough races, and you can upgrade for being a little bit against the flow last time, trying to close into what I thought was just an average, if not slow, pace. But that could be the case again here. So if I have to, I'm happy to go to war with the 1 and the 5. But I did want to give a shout out to the 7. You want similar numbers, or you want to bring something else to the party?
Yeah, Pete, I'm kind of on similar numbers. I'm a little suspicious whether the 1 really wants to go 7 furlongs or not, but we'll see. He's working out well. Safi Joseph, I think he's, it's one you have to throw on the ticket here. The 5 makes a whole lot of sense too. Moving into the Todd Pletcher barn, training well, great recent races. And if you want to spread a little further, the 1 I may want to throw on there is number 4, Nutella Fella. Just think he's a better 7 furlong horse. He gets back to that today. I think he can improve here with, Gregory Sacco and Johnny V. Certainly working out well at Tampa. I like his work. His last work at Tampa was nice, and I just think that 7 furlong, he's just a much a better 7 furlong horse. He's probably going to be a price in here, but I'm not actually convinced on the 1 and 5. For me, it was a spread race in here, using 3 or 4.
Gotcha. Who would you make your top pick?
My top pick would be the 1 here. I just think, if he could take the 7 furlongs, probably a good gate to wire threat here if he gets out.
And for your official picks that we'll send around to our In the Money Plus people, 154, or did you want to mention a 4th number officially?
1547 I was going to use on my ticket here, Pete.
Excellent. We'll throw that 7 in there. We're very much aligned in race number 10. The 3rd and final Gulfstream race we're going to talk about. We pivot to the turf. We're going 1 mile and a 16th, fillies and mares. This one, interesting little race. I'm going to keep the ball in your court, Dean. We'll see what you think here. I was a little spready.
Yeah, Pete, this is like one of those races here where if I didn't cut down my ticket, I probably could make a case for 6 or 7 in here. Just going down the line here. I mean, the 1 here, obviously tough to take, 11 start maiden, but he's been in the money 7 times. Looks like a hanger, but it's kind of one of those horses you don't want to throw off your ticket, especially in this kind of a race. Has the fastest turf route figures. Can't argue there. Whether today's the day, I don't know. Should trip out nicely from the rail. He's going to make my ticket. And the other horse I used on here too, I went back and watched this replay from back in April, is number 5, Timeless Wonder. Stretches out today. He had all kinds of trouble on that trip as the beaten favorite. He's been freshened. He's been working out well by, Great Sire, not this time, should stretch out well. I think he's going to be really live in this spot here. Some others I wanted to use here, Pete, but going back to trainer stats, Brendan Walsh has a couple in here. The 2's been working well. Interesting stat, though, here with Brendan Walsh, which was quite surprising. He's 0 for 24 at Gulfstream with turf horses coming off grade in 180 days, which was a little quite shocking for me. He also has the 7, an Irish import, coming off a very long layoff in here. Got his go-to guy, Gaffalion, could probably make a case for him. But like I said, it's been a while since, he's been on the races. Shows up at Lasix today. Some others in here, the 9 you can make a case for as well. Pletcher and Irad working out well, tons of work. Also not a great percentage, though. Those 2, 1 for 17 at Turfway on grass routes. Not impressive, with those 2 top guys there. Yeah. And then the 10 with Grand Motion, winning with everything he puts on. But for me, I'm going to try to just, like I said, I could use a bunch. I'm going to stick here as my main ticket just with the 1 and 5. And hopefully I can escape this leg, Pete.
I like your logic. And, there is maybe something to the Brendan Walsh stat in that I see him as somebody obviously coming from the overseas background where they don't race horses in the winter. Obviously, he does race horses all year around, and he has a decent record this meet at Gulf. But, different horses, I think trainers view in different ways. And the idea that some of his, main horses for the body of the turf season in America, that he'd bring them back slowly and, maybe be giving them a couple races before having them ready to peak at Keeneland. Like that makes sense, and when a stat goes with logic, that makes me more a bit more interested in it. That said, I am going to use as a backup in this spot just because the horse makes so much sense. The 2-runner Snippety Snip Snip. I had Just So Pretty, who's on your ticket, also as a backup. 11 start maiden, as you mentioned, but just fits. I was going to try to throw a couple of prices in there. Who did I put on top? I went with the 6-runner Via Veneto as the top pick. I liked the improvement I thought I saw from this horse getting back onto the mile on the turf last time, maybe a little bit against the flow in there in a race that was wired. I just thought had license to improve now in the 3rd start for trainer Antonacci. And the other one's going to be a huge price. This is an angle we've talked about over the years a lot here at In the Money Media. Ian Wilkes bringing horses along very slowly and demonstrating what Mike Maloney calls in his book the stair step improvement. I think you could see that from this eeny, meeny, mighty Mo. Very easy one to missay there. But this horse, I just think you could. The last race doesn't look great, right? A 7th place finish, but only beaten 4. I think really against the flow there. Tricky post again here. Look, I just don't need many reasons to try to throw in a horse that I truly believe is going to be 20-1 or higher. And I think that's the case with the 11. So I had it 6, 11, 1, 2 in kind of any order, but the ones who I think will be the best prices are the 6 and the 11. So a lot of focus on those. We'll take our dinner break and we'll head out to Santa Anita, your playground, Dean, for the last 3 here. And it kicks off with some stakes action in the Baffle going down the hill. What numbers do you want on your tickets here?
Yeah, Pete, I was pretty captain obvious here with the three favorites in here. I went 2, 3, 7. I made the 3 my top pick here. The grade 1 winning Hey Nay Nay shortens up this afternoon for his first try over the downhill for Sadler. He's back with Hector Barrios this afternoon. I think he's going to fall into a nice trip, up front pressing trip in here. So he's going to be my top pick. I also used the number 2, the Baffert, Greenwich Village, blinkers off today. But this horse also switches to grass, has a lot of turf pedigree. I think that he can make the surface change quite successfully. Like I said, the blinkers come off today, quick turnaround. He's a must use on the ticket. And then number 7 later as planned, I used as well. Obvious horse. Looks like he's well spotted here for a bounce back effort today, dropping out of the Breeders' Cup Grade 1. So for me, Pete, it's pretty fairly captain obvious. Like I said, 2, 3, 7 I'm going to use on my ticket here. But my 3 is my top choice.
I'm very similar. I'm a kind of allergic to using Baffert on the turf, and that's probably too reflexive and silly of me, especially this one has that Aussie blood on the damn side. And you're probably right, can probably handle it. But, this operation, the Starlight West operation, they are looking for dirt horses generally. So maybe this is a give up move. I'm going to try to just get away with the other 2. Hey Nay Nay just fits it like a glove, has that grade 1 form that you mentioned, and really led them a long way through a fast pace in that juvenile turf. Just looks like an ideal candidate for the cutback, and later than planned, also pretty obvious with that grade 1 form coming out of the Breeders' Cup. If I needed just one, it'd be the 3, but I want some 7s as well. Maybe it's a 1A, 1B in the way that I end up putting this one together. Let's talk about race number 8. This one has a common race where I thought the form might just stand up. Very curious to get your take on this one, but I was mainly about the 5-runner Team Player. The form is two run backs from that common race. One ran well, one didn't, so hard to tell. But this one coming here with a pair of 83s on the Beyer speed figure scale, already outrun the pedigree. Ryan Hansen, a trainer I trust. See if that one can get the job done. And then Left Hand Man, who beat that one last time. I respect that line. This is another runner who in the last 2 dirt starts has run an 83 both times. I didn't have a lot separating them. I was going to throw them out there and hope I could get the winner. But really curious, do you think I'm on the correct form line, or you looking at a different direction?
Yeah, Pete, I actually used the same 2 horses. I have 8, 5 as my top picks. Those were the only pair I was going to use in here. And I think they're going to get the right setup in here. As far as pace projection goes, it looks like it's going to be pretty quick. They're the horses that should be coming from behind in here. And, I don't want to get anything too creative. Perhaps if you want to go further on here, a B, maybe the 2 Berlin Wall going turf to dirt on the stretch out here. kind of makes a little bit of sense. The practical joke horse here. But for me, it's just going to be, I'm going to stay with the 8 and 5. I think they're going to get the right trips in here. Like you said, they're coming out of the same race there. And I just think they get the right setup today.
We wrap things up with a look at race number 9, maiden special weights for the 3-year-olds, going 1 1/8 miles, which is pretty interesting, right? Because these are young, rising 3-year-olds. The distance could test some of these, especially at this stage of the game. And obviously a key race. We're paying off all those late picks, that pick 3 with the higher value, the all turf pick 3 pays off in this race as well, as does the late double and the sunset 6. So we ask you the key question, Dean: how are we going to get paid when it comes to all these wagers?
Yeah, Pete, this is a tough race. You probably could make a case for several in here. I'm going to stand alone here with number 5, Essos, as my single for this ticket. Blinkers on today, Lasix. If you watch his last race, he looked like, he was off slowly. He was wide on both turns there. Kind of looked a little lost in the stretch there, but once he changed leads and kicked into gear, probably the last 20 or 30 yards. He started to run on, and he finished up great, galloped out great for Mark Glatt. Great workout, I thought, on January 18th, best of 72, 5 furlong drill. Loved that work there. Switches to his top grass right here with Spoli. I think that third start should be his best. And like I said, it's a couple in here you could probably make a case for. The 4 Army Man, Speed, also Lasix, as most of these are in here, newly turned 3-year-olds. But for me, I'm just going to try to single the 5 here. For me, it was 5, 4, 3, my top picks, but I'm going to stand alone with the 5 here. Keep the ticket to under $100 for our pick 6 here.
That's awesome. I love that you're going to get. Maybe I'll make you recap that ticket here at the end. Essos was one of the 2 that I wanted. I had the very similar trip angle coming out of the last, and then I mentioned that I like to look at blood in these races, and this one with Liam's map on top, that works for 1 1/8 miles, but tap it on the bottom certainly works. This dam was effective going 1 mile, didn't go any longer than that, but I just think Essos is going to be seen to much better effect second start on the turf going long, and that little bit of longer won't hurt. If there's one on blood that I think might really improve in this race, it's probably number 3, Charlie's Curlin. So I want that one as well by Curlin, out of a Warfront dam named Compelled, who was a grade 3 placed runner, no, grade 2 placed runner even on the turf. I mean, this is that was terrific. Glen Hill Farm color bearer. This one was Glen Hill bred this one, and then they sold at the OBS March sale last year. So a lot of arrows for me pointing in this direction. Mullins obviously having a terrific meet as well, adding to the appeal, the Lasix angle that so many of these have. I need some 3s along with my 5 to close things out in the Sunset 6 and all these late picks that pay off here at Santa Anita. You mentioned the ticket. Why don't we give that out? Do you have it? Can you easily read what you wrote?
Sure.
Do it, man.
Yeah, the first leg we are 3-8 with the 1-4-5-7, with the 1-5, with the 2-3-7, with the 5-8, with the 5. And if my math's right, that should be $96.
Terrific. Well, that's very much appreciated, going that extra mile to give out the ticket. And great having you on here. We mentioned, though, if you want more from Dean, and if you like betting winners, you should want more from Dean, inthemoneypodcast.com. Great to have you there, and looking forward to working with you throughout this 2026, as I'll stick the landing and get the year right at the end of the show. Thanks for your time, Dean.
Oh, thanks, Pete. Great to be here.
Great to have Dean. We'll thank him one more time. Thank everybody for listening and watching over on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel. Throw a thumbs up on this video. Let us know who your single is if you want to drop a comment over on YouTube as well. We appreciate it. This show has been a production of In the Money Media. I'm Peter Thomas Fornatale. May you win all your photos.